I welcome you to our daily Bible study. I am your host, instructor, Dr. Derek A. Reeves. Let's dive right into our 13th series, Constructing and Deconstructing Habits. Today we're going to discuss You Program the Brain. Let's dive right in. We're going to go back to our signature scripture, 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ, and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience. I want to stop right there. Paul gives to us a very, very intricate detail concerning how habits are made and how we are literally those who should be able to control our minds. God did not create man with the capacity only to be controlled mentally by others, but he gave us three aspects that are within the mind that give us a unique control and a unique mechanism to be able to reveal and to exercise our own will. He gives to us the mind to be able to draw from the senses information and to interpret it in a logical and a critical sense. And so your mind was created to think. Anything that causes your mind to shut down and stop you from thinking violates your fundamental right as an individual. We are never to force our thoughts, force our agendas, force our feelings upon others. We can share them, but every human being has the God-given right to think, to process, to break down, to analyze, to examine. This is the very crux of what makes us human. And so you have been given the power of thought, the ability to look at things, to hear things, to feel things, and to interact with circumstances, words, feelings, relationships. And God expects you to utilize your mind to interpret these things as to whether or not, first of all, they are wholesome, they are beneficial or detrimental to you, that they are within the will of God. And so part of your construct as a person or as an individual person is to think. And we must develop the sensical ability to think clearly and to get the facts without becoming emotional. The second contingency is your emotions. The emotions provide many unique things to the mind of man. Emotions are responses or reactions where you manifest or reveal what your feelings are, what your concerns are, what your take on a thing is. And so you manifest, you reflect, you reveal through your emotions. Emotions are designed to move us from one state to another. The term emotions or emotive comes from the word exmovir. Some say exmovere. But they move us from one mental state, one position to another. Emotions can move us out of sensical calmness into a rage. Emotions can move us to action. Emotions can move us to fright or fear. But emotions are typically designed to move, not necessarily always move you in the logical, the critical, or the correct way of responding. But they're just designed to incite movement. They allow you to reveal your feelings, your thoughts concerning a specific thing. And our emotions make us human as well, because a part of our humanity, the mind, is contained with the intellect, the emotions, and above all, the will. The will or the volition is the aspect, one part of the terminology for will, thelema, or It deals with the process of examining, analyzing, and then coming to a critical end where you make a choice based upon your reflections, your feelings. But the will is the ultimate, and I like to associate it with out of Proverbs where he says, and as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And so the term thinketh, consistently thinking, the thought process is related to sha'ar, or a gatekeeper. Your will, your volition, literally opens the vaults. It opens these vaults of the unconscious mind, of the mind in general, and it allows you to focus on those things that you deem to be important based upon your past programming. Your programming then comes from your reflections as an individual, the inspiration of others, and sometimes the inspiration of a spirit, the inspiration of God. Those programming that comes from relationships where people touch you and they leave you with a point of view. And so your perspective comes from many different things, but you then determine based upon your human personality and your human individuality what is important in the scheme of your life. And as you consistently think about these things, you are so designed physiologically and mensiologically or mentally to be interlaced into a system. And this system then enables you to separate, to categorize, to prioritize those things that you think about. And the things that you think about, you begin to construct them into a system of thought processes. And these thought processes will be mindsets. And these mindsets, once certain proteins and chemicals are released within the brain, they connect neurons. And the neurons connect a pathway. And all of the neurons that are firing as you're thinking about a specific thing, and they start activating certain regions in the brain, they connect those thoughts and make those thoughts much easier to think, to solidify, and to clarify. And so literally you program your brain by the thoughts. And that's why it's very important that you're very careful what thoughts come into your mind, because you can establish a way of thinking by entertaining things that are injected into your mind, whether they be true, whether they be false. As long as you empower them to become important, you open the gate, they flow through, you energize the thought by adopting it. And because you have adopted the thought, it becomes critical and important to you. And sometimes we are not aware that we have not critically evaluated the thought. We have not examined it, and we have not analyzed it. But we've taken something at face value because we have been grafted into the situation emotively. Emotions, again, are the things that move you out of critical thought processes. Emotions, sometimes, when they are ushered by the will of God, they can cause you to feel compassion that tempers your situation. But most of the time, emotion moves you to connect to a scenario, a thought, a system, a behavior, a belief, without it being connected to God. And so you program the brain by the way you think, by the way you promote specific thoughts or feelings, by the way you promote specific values, moral decisions, or the lack of moral decisions. You are the programmer. You were so designed that your brain works to accommodate your mind. Your mind and brain are not the same. The mind is the living entity that operates through the physiology we call the brain. Much like you getting into your car, you are not your car, but you integrate with the car in a sense where you now operate it through the mechanisms that give you access for driving. I thank you for joining us. I am your host, Dr. Derek A. Reeves. Continue to share and continue to like. On YouTube, just push the like button, and we thank you again for you being with us. God bless you. Again, this is our daily Bible study, and I am your host, Dr. Derek A. Reeves.